Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers, Facebookians. Welcome to another edition of Living Simply and Fun. I'm your host, Aries. Here's Aaron.
With a special Valentine's Day edition. This is a cigar review, though. And we had these tonight. These are Cohiba Siglo 6, made in Hecho in Cuba, and it says Habana, Cuba. So, real deal Cubans, from what I can gather. I didn't go and buy them in Cuba, but I believe they are. So, getting off to the beginning, immediately out of the tubes here, I noticed that they kind of had...
They are really nice tubes, by the way.
Yes, they are, cedar lined and stuff. But there's faint hits of hay that I was getting off the wrapper and off the foot, and a dry hit kind of had a chocolatey flavor. Very nice airflow. I have to agree,
but I will tell you, when I was hitting the notes before I fired it up with my quad burner torch lighter, which is a gas guzzler, I also picked up hints of alfalfa.
So, one more thing, talking about the construction of it. I'd always been under the impression that Cuban cigars had, like, superior craftsmanship. Yet, when I was looking at this, I could see seams in it, and it was bumpy, and it had wrinkly stems that were kind of standoutish. But yet, somehow, it still had a beauty to it, and it reminds me of something a coworker and me argued about in the past. I was working in a restaurant, and I wanted to serve a burger that looked perfect, and he'd take it and just slop it together. And he says, well, mine's professionally sloppy, and when people get their hands messy and dirty, they enjoy it a lot more. But also, when something comes out looking really good, people are in awe of it and almost afraid to eat it. But at the same time, that also is a nice thing. So, it's a fine line of going too fancy looking or too junky looking. Well, this was kind of junky looking, but it still had a beauty to it, like it was almost done that way on purpose. Your thoughts on looking at it?
Mine was awesome. No construction errors. I had one little tear and the wrapper caught on, but otherwise, this thing, hold on.
You were smoking.
Yes, but I wanted to say no construction errors. I had to fix it twice with my my error because I have problems with my vision, by the way, for you cigar smokers out there. So unless I tell Aaron here to light all my cigars, I had two light problems, but otherwise it smoked like a dream.
I'll agree with that, but that should be afterwards. I'm just talking the way the cigar itself looked. Anyways, the first puff that I got was like ultra creamy. It was just a blast of this creamy flavor. Your first puff, did you notice anything?
I got creaminess, just like smoking butter. Yeah, I mean, I at first I said to myself, there's not many people in the United States that are on our financial income that can try these, and
what a blessing that is.
Yeah, to the cigar elves or cigar fairies that dropped these into our hands by mistake, we gotta thank the cigar fairies for.
Yes. Dear Aunt Sally from our trip to Canada. Now, I said that on the first puff I noticed the creaminess, but on the second puff and further, I never noticed the creaminess ever again. It never came back. However, it was a very thick, full, rich smoke, slightly chocolatey for the beginning, and nice and mellow, slightly loamy with just very big clouds of smoke, very ease of draw to it. Your thoughts on the first third?
First third, well, I picked up, after I lit it up, I got almonds, nuts, walnut, spice, grass, alfalfa, and chocolate.
Yeah, it sounds like you got the works.
Yeah, and then on my first third, I was smoking grass, hay, earth, alfalfa, and chocolate.
Now, in the halfway point, I noticed that the earthiness kind of picked up a bit to me. A little bit stronger, and the chocolate kind of went into the background. And the earthy flavor kind of went from being loamy to more of an alfalfa or a hay. or an oat, whatever. But it kind of went from being earthy to grainy, I guess you could say. Your middle section?
My middle section, my second third was earth, honey, cedar, and alfalfa with a little bit of hints of vanilla.
And in the final third, I noticed that coming to the front was kind of a nuttiness I hadn't noticed the rest of the cigar. The nutty flavor kind of reminded me of, well, Brazil nuts, which kind of have, to me at least, a semi-unique flavor. Particularly when cracking them, it's the smell that's kind of in the air, and it made me think of Brazil nuts. And the earthiness kind of moved back a bit, and the chocolate was still there in about the same strength, and so it was kind of nice to have it just kind of be like, here's the first item, and then now there's 2 flavors, and then there's 3 flavors. And to me, I just thought that was really really nice to have the chocolate go from beginning to end. And, you know, so often a flavor disappears and it's gone, and you don't notice it anymore. Or this flavor's become really strong, and it's like I'd rather that have kind of faded, or this one faded, and I prefer it to have been in the forefront. This cigar was just very nice. Everything just blended very well to me. Your final third?
My final third was earth, honey, oak and cedar, basically, yeah.
Now, this was an hour and 40 minutes that it took for me to smoke it, and it felt soft, so I thought this was going to burn really, really quick. But an hour 40 minutes, it didn't burn that quick because I was very content doing a single puff method, and usually I do a double puff. Just because most cigars I can't get enough flavor from it on just one puff. So I don't know. I like to do the double puff, and so often I'm finding, I'm sometimes just kind of going straight back to it immediately. With this, I was quite content to, hold it and let it burn, and then take a puff and let it burn. So I was much slower going than usual. If I'd done my normal routine, this might have only taken me 45 minutes. But this cigar was just that quality, I guess, that it slowed me down without me even thinking about it, really. I think about it now, but I don't know. I got to give this... it's not something I could try very often, and so... But I'm going to base it off of every cigar I've ever tried before, and basing it as a cigar. Not budget or not expensive, just a cigar, against all the other ones. I'd give it a 9.5. Given the fact that it's something that I think is kind of really hyped up, it is a bit overrated. The value, it's a bit overpriced. The consistency was all there. I was thinking about this earlier when talking to Rita. It's like, if you can get a $2 cigar that has almost everything you desire in it, it has flavor, character, ease of burn, no construction errors, it's rather uniform and consistent from cigar to cigar, and you can get it for, let's say, $2 a stick. You could get a box then for $40. And if you can get your, let's say, she was talking about the HMS from Gurkha
$400
at $400. You can get 10 boxes of your cigars. That's 200 cigars, isn't it? No, 10 boxes.
2,000 cigars. 20
times 10 is 200.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, 200 cigars. And those 200 cigars will last you well over 200 hours. And, am I right? I'm kind of brain dead today. Yeah, so you get over 200 hours of cigars where the HMS will last you 1 hour. Maybe 2.
Was it, you were talking about, which cigars were we talking about, the cheap ones?
Oh, I was talking like the Amati. Those are very good for $25 a box.
20?
And that's $25 a box, and
20
20 cigars in a box. So you'd be able to get 4, 8, 16, or 12, 16 boxes for the price of an HMS. So 16 times 20.
320 cigars.
Yeah, so if you did the Amatis in place of an HMS, you'd have 320 cigars, 320 hours minimum of smoking, and heck, if you smoke one a day, that's almost a whole year for the price of that one cigar. So, unless that cigar knocks me on my feet and I'm sitting there, my God, this is the greatest thing I have ever had, I'm in heaven, I am dying, I don't know as it would be worth the money. Whereas if a $5 cigar can do that for me, then heck, you know, that's great. But you know what? I'm very, very glad I got to try this, and I'm very glad I can say I have tried it. So I don't want anybody thinking that, you know, I'm sitting there saying, you know what, this is a waste of money. I should, you know, this was no waste of money for anyone. These were truly awesome smokes. Just I don't know if they, you know. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have
it's kind of confusing.
These,
I should do that as a separate
video. These cigars, in my opinion, were a blessing to have. And Aaron and I just want to say to you viewers out there viewing this as our first video, we are tonight, and we have to tonight, shoot from the hip, as some would call it, by memory, of the Cohiba No. 2 Habanas.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a problem on that one. In fact, we should just do that one in this video, too.
Alright.
That's a secondary. We got to try also the other day with another friend of ours from this building that we live in. He came over, and we had 3 of them. And we said, hey, you want one? And, well, of course, he said, yes, of course. And we had 3... Montecristo No. 2 Montecristo No. 2 Habanas, which were very, very nice. I do not have the wrapper in front of me because we weren't planning on doing this, but it's kind of a reddish brown wrapper, very thin, and it says Montecristo Habana on it. You know, I don't know really what to say about it. It was a very tight cigar, very tightly wrapped. It was very unlike this one, and the fact this was so soft, that one was just really hard. I wouldn't have wanted to take this one and tap it or anything, but the other one, I bet you I could have done that and it wouldn't have done any damage. The big difference in the consistency. All the cigars kind of felt the same way. They felt like a rock carved into a cigar shape. I can't even remember the flavors of it, honestly. I didn't get to write down notes. I was enjoying my time with a friend of ours, and I didn't get to do my usual note-taking, but it was a very, very nice cigar. Unlike this one, where I would have given this at least a 9.5 to a 10, the Habana, I would have given about a 8.5 to a 9. And I think that one is supposed to be $15 to $25, depending on where you get it. I was looking them up. These I could find anywhere from like $30 to $100. So,
but we're not interested in the price. These were definitely gifts.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that to say, even in Cuba, the one. This is at least double to triple the price of the other.
I heard rumors that it's Partagas or Cohibas that the Castro smokes, or the Castro.
I don't remember offhand.
Who died and made you El Presidente?
That was from the critic. Jay Sherman comes in on boat to rescue his son who's fled to Cuba to be with his girlfriend. And he's sitting there and talking to Fidel Castro. And Fidel says something to him, and he says, who died and made you El Presidente? And then his son grabs his arm and says, Dad, that's Fidel Castro. Anyways, I think he faced a firing squad for that or whatever. I can't remember how he got out of it because it's been a while since I watched The Critic. But the Montecristo number 2 was actually really decent. I'm regretful that I did not take notes on it. But it was at a point where we really couldn't take notes on it.
And we had an additional third one, so we just gave it to a friend who gave us a
Which
ride
our
to
original
town.
plan beforehand was that me and her were both going to smoke one, write down our notes, and then when we did this video for him, we were going to be able to show you one. But because we invited a friend along and said, here, you want this?
They drove and did me a favor on a project I was working on, and so I figured it would be only fair. Because we couldn't give him one of the ones that Aaron bought at the cigar shop.
Yes. I got 2 Onyxes, which just do not compete to these. Even though the Onyx is a very, very, very good smoke, and I adore and love the Onyx cigar, it couldn't compete to these. I'd rather have, these than that. I'd take one of these over a box of Onyxes, but, well, maybe not. I don't know. That's a close call. And then the other one I got we haven't tried yet is a Montecristo Classico. It's like a 7x60 ring gauge. And I wanted to actually have that like next week or whatever. And I thought it'd be kind of nice to have a, European, American, or whatever, a Honduran, Nicaraguan, non-Cuban Montecristo to kind of compare to the Cuban Montecristo. And I hadn't had a Montecristo since we had the Platinum. And you know what? I would have taken the Habana number 2 over the Platinum.
Yeah, that I would agree with.
And that Platinum was very nice. So, anyways, I don't know what else to say.
To our subscribers out there, including Desert Smoke, as they say at the end of the videos, smoke them if you got them. Please add and subscribe if you like. Please leave comments, feedback, suggestions. Thank you, and may God bless the world.